This is Pixel Worlds. And this is Pixel Worlds without developers. This is what happens when a developer leaves a game on life support. It's been a troublesome last few years for Pixel Worlds. The last notable update came out in February of 2022. That's over 2 years ago at this point. Back in late 2021, it was announced that Commander K, the CEO of Kukori, would end up leaving the company. And then shortly after, in early 2022, Jake said he would be leaving his position as well. And then the ball started rolling and several team members ended up leaving. You know, really, it's one thing for a developer to leave occasionally. I mean, that happens all the time. But when almost the entire team leaves at once, that's gonna be a huge problem. And just to be clear, I'm not blaming the developers for leaving and moving on to other projects. People want to do new things and that's understandable, I get that. But I do fault the management at Kukori for not preparing and finding new replacements. Because the game is not going to be able to run on its own. It was not prepared for that. If we go to the Pixel Worlds wiki, we can look at the ex-administrators. You can see that the list is quite long here. We have Jake, Zach, Commander K, all of these people that we know and love. They have left the company, they're no longer actually working on the game. And meanwhile, if you scroll up to see who's actually active at the moment, we have these 4 people. I've never heard of these people. But these are the guys that are working on Pixel Worlds as we speak. Don't send hate to them, it's not their fault, it's rather the management at Kukori. They needed to prepare these guys better and they needed to hire more people. How are 4 people going to manage all of Pixel Worlds? It does make sense and it will never make sense. Ever since team members started leaving Kukori, the game has been on a steady decline. The game has been left to rot with little to no updates. Just the bare minimum and not even that. So I logged on earlier. What's the first thing I see?
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
An announcement for a St. Patrick's and Easter event. That's like 2-3 months ago. It's supposed to be held in March. It's now June. This is old news, guys. Come on, bro. And just to prove how little the developers actually maintain this game nowadays, just take a look at the social tab. Look at this. Last recommended video is wishing you Merry Christmas. And if you scroll a bit to the side there, you see Halloween. Guys, it's June. So obviously the lack of updates and transparency has left players annoyed, but what if I told you this is just the beginning? By overloading the server with modified packets, hackers have been able to dupe items, and this has caused a market crash. Items that used to be worth tons of wordlocks and bytes are now sold on the PvE for spare change. Dark Pixies, arguably the rarest item in the game, is being mass sold on the exchange. I was notified yesterday that hackers were giving away duped items, and I even joined the world, and yeah, they were trading, they were dropping, they were giving away a ton of different duped items, and this is going to affect the market. Hackers are now able to change the name of seeds, so you get results like this. But don't be fooled, because these are just regular soil seeds that have been renamed. So if that's not misleading, I don't know what is. And if we go into the PvE and we set the category to weapons, that's not a crappy pickaxe. Okay, now what the hell is that? I'm in no way endorsing this sort of behavior. I think it's unfortunate that the economy has gotten to this point, as it's such a big part of the game. And remember, do not interact with duped items, as it's actually breaking the TOS and developers may ban you for it. I'm gonna be drawing some parallels between Pixel Worlds and another game that I grew up with, which is called Little Big Planet. There was a pretty similar situation that happened over there, and I'm kind of seeing the same patterns happen with Pixel Worlds, which is really unfortunate. Little Big Planet servers were up for over a decade, and over time the original developers, they moved on to other projects, but because of that it left the servers vulnerable to hackers. Without proper maintenance, Sony eventually decided to shut them down. It simply wasn't worth their time and money to save. And as I said, I'm seeing a similar situation happen with Pixel Worlds here, because in game development there's always going to be a cat and mouse game between developers and hackers, and with hardly any functional development team left, it looks like the hackers are winning the fight. I'm just scared for the future of Pixel Worlds, because at one point it's not going to be worth saving the servers and actually doing the maintenance to keep them up anymore. The hackers are going to keep duping, they're going to keep creating their clients and all that stuff. So the question remains, are the developers going to pick the fight and actually do something about the hackers? And when do the developers give up and say, we've had enough? I may not play as much Pixel Worlds as I used to back in the day, but I still love this game, and it means a lot to me. This was a big part of my childhood. So to see it in the state it is today is honestly really sad. When I think back to when I started my YouTube channel, you know, I used to primarily play Growtopia back in the day. There wasn't really any other content I did. But then Pixel World seemingly came out of nowhere, and I started creating content for it. I was one of the first content creators to even play this game. And back then I remember thinking, if Growtopia and Pixel Worlds were standing side by side, I think Pixel Worlds is gonna be the game that has the most longevity. I think that's the game that's gonna survive for the longest. But now when I see the state of Pixel Worlds, I can't help but think that this game is going to die faster if something doesn't happen. Now don't get me wrong, Growtopia has a lot of problems too, but they're at least putting out new content for players, and Pixel Worlds is just not getting the attention it deserves. It's not getting the love it deserves from the developers. There needs to be a change. And I'm not here to meet trouble halfway, because something might change and Pixel Worlds might flourish again. Maybe the remaining staff members at Kokori can be a little bit more transparent and tell us what's actually going on. And hopefully they can hire some more people so we can actually get some more content pumping into the game. There's still a lot of potential for Pixel Worlds, and I hope they realize that. Okay, that's gonna mark the end of this video. What do you think? Do you think this is the end of Pixel Worlds, or do you think there's gonna be a positive outcome? I hope you liked the video. Please leave a like if you did, and I will see you
in Pixel Worlds.